going to continue into the information session where we have our first presenter is Mr. Mr. Li, and who is the first Education Secretary in the Department of International and Quasi-State Education at the Ministry of Education. So Li Mishu, Mr. Li, thank you so much.
Thank you. Good local time, ladies and gentlemen. This is David Li from Taiwan Ministry of Education. Today, I'm so pleased and honored to have this opportunity to introduce all of you the programs and the resources of Mandarin Chinese from Taiwan. Later on, there are two major parts of my presentation. The first part is the Mandarin Chinese in Taiwan, and the second one is the Mandarin to the world. For now, there are 5 mechanisms to promote the advantage of Mandarin Chinese in Taiwan, and this is the whole picture for your reference. And first, the Ministry of Education has been subsidizing the civic organization to set up the Taiwan Mandarin Education Resources Center to function as a think tank and a contact point for internal and external service related to Mandarin Chinese education. And second, there are 62 university-affiliated Chinese centers in Taiwan for now, and often offers a variety of programs to meet the needs of different learners based on depends on their level of Mandarin Chinese proficiency. And in addition, the Ministry of Education offers Hua-Yu enrichment scholarship to encourage foreign students to take up Hua-Yu courses in Taiwan. And the Ministry of Education, MOE, offers monthly stipend to the foreign students directly, and the monthly stipend is about $900 per month. So the foreign students can take advantage of this scholarship to pay their tuition fees, their airfare, and their accommodation fees, and so on and so forth. And the studying period ranges from 2 months at least, happened in the summer period, and range from 2 months to at most 12 months. In other words, 1 year. They can have their studying period in Taiwan. And also, we offer the foreign student the short-term Chinese study groups. So MOE provides subsidies of 4,000 NT per person per week to encourage the foreign student to have this kind of short-term experience in Taiwan. So when they are in Taiwan, they not only learn the Mandarin Chinese, but also they can experience the culture and the lifestyle and so on in Taiwan. And also, the MOE provide the training courses for overseas teachers of Chinese. So MOE provides subsidies about 2,000 NT dollars per person per day for each of the overseas Mandarin Chinese teachers to make them have this opportunity to polish their Mandarin Chinese teaching skills and teaching professionals. And since 2014 to 2020, there have been 135,678 students coming to Taiwan to studying the Mandarin Chinese. And when it comes to the Mandarin to the world, there are several approaches that we take to promote advantage of the Mandarin Chinese in Taiwan, and to encourage foreign students to learn the Mandarin Chinese. For example, we send the Chinese language teachers and the teaching assistant overseas. And we also offer the Taiwan Huayu Best programs and the TalkBow. It is a kind of a standardized language proficiency test. And we also offer online learning resources. And I will introduce each of them respectively later on. And when it comes to the Chinese language teachers and the teaching assistant, the MOE provides Mandarin Chinese teachers overseas to teach Mandarin Chinese and thereby make people overseas aware of the high quality of Taiwan teaching of Mandarin Chinese. So if you, because I know there are some participants teaching Mandarin Chinese overseas in school. So if your school is interested in recruiting this kind of high quality Taiwan Mandarin Chinese teachers, please do not hesitate to contact our education divisions in our overseas missions, especially in the USA. We highly recommend you can recruit more and more Chinese language teachers and teaching assistants from Taiwan. And also the MOE provides these teachers with round-trip airfares, monthly stipends, and teaching materials allowances, and so on. And also the MOE has already been subsidized an independent academic institute to develop and create the TalkBow, which is the standardized language proficiency test. And it is a test for non-native speakers of Chinese. So TalkBow provides several listening, reading, speaking, and writing tests. And in order to make this kind of test correspond to the international Chinese assessment system, so the TalkBow assessment can be correspond to CEFR, which is widely used in European country. And in the near future, because we know that ACFO assessment system is widely used in the USA. So in the near future, the TalkBow can be correspond to the ACFO test as well. And you can see this is the simple picture and the general structure of the TalkBow for your reference. And since 2005, there 43 countries have conducted this kind of a TalkBow test, and 500,000 times of TalkBow tests have been taken. And when it comes to the online learning resources, because as you may know, especially during this period of pandemic, and even we say it post the COVID pandemic, digital learning and the teaching is more and more important. So for the past a couple of years, the MOE has already developed several online learning resources. For example, the Huayu 101, it focuses on the everyday Chinese. So if for the first beginning, if the foreigners come to Taiwan, they can use this material to adapt to the daily use of Chinese language as soon as possible. And the second one is the learning Chinese, start from scratch. It is a online material for foreigners free of charge, and it is available on Coursera platform. And the final one is Chinese language and culture, and it is also the material free of charge and can be available on the edX platform. So we want to highly recommend that foreigners can use this kind of free online learning resources to polish and to build a very solid foundation of learning Mandarin Chinese. And since 2018, there have been 240,000 students use this kind of online learning resources. And just like our director mentioned last year, I think as you may know that the Taiwan government and the USA government has already signed the MOU related to the education, especially in the field of language cooperation. And we have already launched the Taiwan Huayu bilingual exchanges for selected talent program. And this program is aimed to promote Chinese language education in Europe, in USA, and the MOE encourage cooperation between university in Taiwan and university in the USA. So it's a program. It's the kind of model to focus on university to university. So we call it U to U, different. Very different from a previous model that we adopt. So I think as of now, under this program, our university have some cooperation with their partner university in the USA, including our university has started to send language teachers and teaching assistants to teach in their partner university. And also, our MOE also subsidized our university to grant the scholarship for USA students to learn the Mandarin Chinese in Taiwan. And in the long run, we do hope that our university have some kind of cooperation with the partner university to set up the language center, so we can more deepen and expand the scope of cooperation. And as of now, there are 10 universities in Taiwan have cooperation with 21 universities from USA. Here's the list for everyone's reference. And because we have already called for the new proposal, and the process of review is undergoing, so we do hope that in the near future there will be more and more foreign partner university to have cooperation with our university. Okay, here above is my brief introduction of Mandarin resources and programs from Taiwan, especially from Taiwan government and Taiwan's university. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lee. I know there's a lot of information, and in our chat, people are asking, well, the presentations and PowerPoints, the slides will be shared. And yes, they will be shared. And if you look at the chat, you will see that the video will also be posted. So another question is asking that can some of the parts of these videos, like Mr. Daly's talk, can be shared with students? I'm sure it's okay. All right. So our next presenter is Dr. Jeff Huang. Jeff Huang is the Deputy Director General from the Overseas Compatriot Education from the Overseas Communities Affairs Council. So Dr. Huang.
Thank you for having me. Director General Chen and Director Robert Daly and Director General Dr. Nicole Lee of MOE and all distinguished guests. We're honored to, on behalf of Overseas Community Affairs Council, that stands for OCAC, my colleague, Section Chief Chris Zhang, and Specialist Song Hong, together, we would like to present the OCAC's efforts to promote Mandarin learning. Yes. Today's presentation include four parts. And first, I will talk about Taiwan-U.S. cooperation, and that previously some of our guests already mentioned. And second part, I will talk about Taiwan's advantages of Mandarin learning and Mandarin teaching. And thirdly, I would like to talk about OCAC 3 strategies and 6 pillars in promoting language learning. And the last one is Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning. That stands for TCML. And that's the most important part of what we are going to do this couple years. Okay. Taiwan-US cooperation in promoting Mandarin learning with Taiwan characteristics. And as we know that Mandarin learning fever is a growing international trend in international society. And so there is an increasing demand for the world. So in October 2020, as we can see on the presentation, the launch of the language.gov led by State Department on October 2020 last year. The State Department already launched these language initiatives for the world that emphasize that we can have more opportunity learning Mandarin in Taiwan outside of China. And the picture you can see the skyline of Taipei City, Taipei 101 building that symbolize that the importance of Taiwan's Mandarin teaching and learning opportunities for the world. And this picture is the signing of the MOU between Taiwan and U.S. government that the Taiwan's Ambassador Shao and the United States Education Ministry that we signed a MOU to cooperate on mutually help to promote language, including Mandarin and English. The second part is about Taiwan's advantages, and Taiwan's importance for language learning is that the first one, we have democratic and free Mandarin learning environment, and also we have diverse and innovative culture. Please take a look at the video.
I would say Taiwan is pretty much the only choice you have right now to study Chinese.
Foreigners, I think, want to come to a more open society, democratic society.
These characters are incredibly old, so when you're writing them, you're basically writing down history.
It managed to preserve the Chinese traditional culture in many, many aspects.
This allows you to understand the culture and language even more.
It just feels very comfortable, even if you haven't been here for a very long time.
Learning a language is important not only to learn the superficial characters, but also the profound meaning and the cultural significance.
Simplified Chinese, easier to write, maybe easier to remember, but it doesn't have the meaning like implemented in its image.
The traditional ones are more complete and holistic. So when I see the characters, I really feel the picture or the story behind them.
Taiwan is a free country, which you're able to express your own feelings and ideas. The internet's not restricted, which makes studying easier.
In Taiwan, I have never run into any freedom of speech problems.
There's not much choice if you want to study Chinese in a free environment without having to be afraid for being arrested.
Or my favorite teaching method was a role play activity. My teachers and my classmates would each play parts of diplomatic representatives or politicians, and the discussions we had during class were thought-provoking and lighthearted.
When I was studying the Simplified Chinese, I felt that it only teaches you like practical daily Chinese, but nothing with a bit more depth, not to mention the so-called sensitive issues. So while studying, I've always felt like I missed something. I think it's very different than learning traditional Chinese in Taiwan.
I think it's the best choice if you want to live in Asia. From now, you should come here.
If you cannot come to Taiwan,
you can also study Chinese
In your own country.
Okay, yes, welcome to Taiwan to study language here. And just as the video shows that the democratic system are the common and the universal values of Taiwan and the global society. So let's that's very important for Taiwan and U.S. and the Western society to work together for promoting language learning. Okay, let's head into the third part. The third part is talk about OCAC, how we promote Mandarin learning in Europe and North America with so-called 3 strategies and 6 pillars. And 3 strategies. The first strategy is to assist existing overseas compatriot schools, assist Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning. So briefly speaking, that we have 1,029 overseas Taiwan compatriot schools around the globe, and we have 429 compatriot schools in the U.S. and Europe. So we are trying to help them to establish Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning to target the adults over age 18, the non-Chinese speaking adults, for them to learn Taiwan language in our Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning. The second strategy is to enhance link with teachers of Taiwanese extraction at mainstream elementary and junior high schools in Europe and the U.S. And according to our statistics, we have about 500 to 600 Taiwanese descent teachers that teach in Mandarin schools in the U.S. and Europe, because they know more about Taiwanese culture and know more about Taiwan's tradition and Taiwan traditional characters. So we are going to cooperate with them to promote Taiwan characters in the mainstream American societies. And also many Chinese school teachers, they want to get a license and pass the exam and to teach in the mainstream schools. So we are going to support them, to encourage them to earn the credits. This is our goal, is to cooperate with our Taiwanese descent teachers to promote Mandarin. The third strategy is to enhance cooperation with Taiwan's Mandarin teaching institutions and smart education industry, because we have dozens of Mandarin teaching institutions in Taiwan universities, and we have tens of smart education industries here in Taiwan. So those importance of their contribution, we like to work together. We would like to bridge gap between those institutions and our overseas compatriot schools for them to work together to promote Mandarin learning. And then to achieve the 3 strategies, we would like to use 6 pillars. The first pillar is that we have physical and digital methods of teachers training, because many overseas compatriot schools teachers, they are not professional, so we have to provide them with teachers training workshops to strengthen their teaching abilities. So we have physical one that they will invite those teachers back to Taiwan to have workshops. Also, we have remote learning and remote classes for those teachers. Both ways we can strengthen their abilities. And second pillar is to provide teaching materials, including the physical textbooks and including the website materials. So this is OCAC's website for the teachers training and the learning. So as you can see that we have many the Chinese books. We all put the electronic form, the digital form on the website. So the huayuworld.org website is very resourceful for everybody, for the teachers and also for the learners. Okay. And the third pillar is to promote and share the cultural events held by OCA's culture centers. because OCAC, we have about more than 20 liaison office, overseas liaison office around the world. So every liaison office, that's culture centers. The culture center will host many cultural events to promote Taiwanese culture. So we would like to invite our American friends to come to OCAC's culture centers to see our events, and then you can learn the Taiwanese culture in the center, and you can share to your American friends. The fourth pillar is to invite U.S. youth learners of Mandarin to attend youth camps, language classes, and youth study in Taiwan. So those U.S. learners can learn Mandarin here in Taiwan from the Taiwan society and experience the Taiwanese culture by themselves. The fifth pillar is to invite U.S. learners of Mandarin to Taiwan to take part in so-called English service camps. The English service camps to invite those English-speaking friends to come to Taiwan, to a local, even to a suburb, to teach Taiwan kids the English. So by this two-way learning, those U.S. learners can teach English to our Taiwan kids, and Taiwan kids can teach Mandarin to our U.S. learners. So they can share, they can learn from each other, both in language and both in culture. And the last pillar is to promote the Mandarin teaching and learning through international exchange and the competition. So about next week, we're going to have an international summit on teaching Mandarin here in Taipei. Yeah, because of the pandemic, so we cannot invite everybody come back to Taiwan to join. But we have virtual event for live streaming for everybody. So that's a kind of international exchange. And also, we just like I just mentioned, we have we cooperate with AI companies to host three kind of competitions. The first one is oral, is a Mandarin speaking competition. The second one is essay writing competition, and third one is singing competition. So we use AI technology to evaluate the extent of those participants in these three kind of Mandarin competitions. So that's international exchange and competitions. We work together to bridge overseas and Taiwan. Okay, the last part is the most important part. Is what we are going to do this couple of years, probably 4 years, probably 10 years, is to build up the Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning, TCML, in Europe and in US, and if possible, we can expand to other places in the world. On the left part, that TCML, that's our logo, Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning. And the right part is our flyer for the Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning. That's you can see on the poster, we can see the puppet show, we can see the colorful images that stands for Taiwan's multiculturalism. Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning. This picture is the past September. We have established 15 TCMLs in the U.S. So this picture is Silicon Valley Chinese school. They established the Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning in their school. So we have opening ceremony there. Our Minister Dr. Tong also went there to host this ceremony. And this picture is also the same. The past September, we went to opening ceremony for this is Irvine Chinese School in California. So that's also another one of opening ceremony this year. So we totally we have 18 TCMLs in Europe and in US. 15 are in the US and 1 in UK, 1 in France, and 1 in Germany this year. And we are going to we hope to see more established in the near future. We expect that we have 100 TCML set up in 5 years. So this map you can see the 15 TCMLs established here in the US. So in the West Coast we have 5 in the California, and in the East Coast, in New Jersey, in Maryland, in Virginia, even in the Florida in the South. And the central West, we have Cleveland, we have Columbus in Ohio, and we also have Atlanta. So this is, so far we have 15 in the US. And because more and more coming in for next year, so we expect to have some other TCMs established here in the US, especially in Seattle. This is the 3 TCMLs established here in France, in UK, and in Germany this year, and we also expect more in other European countries next year. Okay, this is Let's Learn Mandarin. We especially compile for TCML for their use, and this textbook is especially for adults, very beginning level, novice level, for them to study the second language. We can take a look again at the Huayu World website. We also put Let's Learn Mandarin on our website. You can see Let's Learn Mandarin, the first volume. This is a digital form, so if you want a digital form, you can download it from our website, the Huayu World. It's a second language teaching mode, and we have Bopomofo, and we also have Pinyin, and we have the traditional characters, and we also have simplified one if you want at the back. Okay, that's another video to talk about our TCMLs.
Hello, I'm Chen Tong, Minister of Overseas Community Affairs Council of Taiwan. We have been supporting Mandarin education to our overseas compatriots for decades, with more than 1,000 compatriot schools all over the world. We provide excellent textbooks and good teachers training, support cultural activities, and even summer camps. There will be many institutes of the Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning established by our compatriot schools. Mandarin is a very important language around the world. It is a key to job opportunities and business success, and the demand of learning the language is rising high. You need excellent teachers, good materials, and right places to learn the language with long cultural traditions behind the characters. Students need to feel free to discuss every topic about the language with teachers, and Taiwan has all the advantages. We preserve tradition and culture very well, and our democratic system guarantees freedom of speech. The Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning is our new project to cooperate with outstanding compatriot schools in the United States and Europe. They should provide excellent teaching materials, good teachers, and good places to learn Mandarin and the real traditional culture kept by Taiwan. And of course, with the atmosphere of academic freedom. So you are welcome to join us.
So my name is Jason Wang. I'm a professor at Stanford University. I'm originally from Taiwan, and I moved to the US when I was 12 years old. My children, they were both born here in the United States. Early on, we sent them to Mandarin schools, mostly locally run by people from Taiwan, because they have this context of using their Mandarin, so they are more willing to continue to learn even on their own. Definitely learning a different language than English, I think is an advantage for my kids. Language and culture, they go together. The uniqueness of Taiwan, I believe, it's sort of the freedom of expression. That's number one. So people could say whatever they like, also to share different ideas. And so when you're learning Mandarin in that environment, you're more free to speak up. The other advantage of learning Mandarin from the Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning, which the Overseas Community Affairs Council is trying to set up, is that it has more of the traditional Chinese and Taiwanese cultures. Taiwan has managed to keep a lot of those traditional cultures. Traditional Chinese texts in the classic literatures, you're more likely to find it in Taiwan. Democracy is one of those values that we share. Taiwan Center for Mandarin Learning is a wonderful idea. It's a program where we could interact not only with existing Mandarin-speaking families and communities, but also reaching out to greater communities in the United States and Europe. Certainly expect that it to become a successful program, a medium for interaction between the East and the West, a merger of different ideas, of different cultures, of different people.
台湾是学中文最好的地方，更全面的向学中文的美国学生讲述台湾的故事。
Okay, thank you. This is today's presentation. Thank you for listening.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Huang. That's wow, a lot of information. We see a lot of outreach and different programs being promoted, and we're very excited about all these opportunities. Our last two presenters are from the Taiwan Mandarin Educational Resources Center. We have with us today the Chancellor of Fo-Guangshan University Consortium, Chancellor Yang Xiaozhang, Chancellor Yang, Chaoxiang Yang, and we also have Mr. Stephen Chen, who's also a co-investigator at the TMERC. So welcome.
Thank you. Dear colleagues and friends, I'm so pleased to have this opportunity to join today's forum. Currently, I serve as the coordinator of the Mandarin Educational Resource Center. This center is a brand new institution supported by the Ministry of Education, which has 5 major functions. The first one is try to improve the quality of Mandarin teachers. Second one is try to set up an external Mandarin teaching system. The third one is try to develop Mandarin digital teaching system. And the fourth one is try to promote international marketing of Mandarin education. And the last one is try to assist the Ministry of Education to set up more strategy and a plan for promote the Mandarin education. Because this is a newly established center, not too many teachers or students know this center well. So I would like to ask Stephen Chen. He's our session coordinator responsible for the international promotion to make a brief introduction of this center. From now on, teachers, students, or anyone who are interested in learning or teaching Mandarin language and need more information, resources, or support, please do not hesitate to contact us. Right now, I would like to ask Stephen to make a brief presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Steve?
Okay, hi. Hi, honorable host and speaker, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. This is Stephen Chen from Taiwan Mandarin Educational Resource Center. It's my honor to be on behalf of the center to give you a brief introduction to our center. And because of limited of time, I will start. We have 3 parts to introduce to you. First, about my presentation. First is about the center. And second is about our Mandarin education policy and resources. This part, because the previous speaker, Dr. Lee, has some information about this, so I will go through very quickly. And third part will be the educational resources. Okay. First, about the Taiwan Mandarin Educational Resource Center. As you know, the trend of Mandarin learning emerging worldwide, and governments of various countries are paying more and more attention to Mandarin education and the overseas Mandarin education promotion. Our government pay a lot of resources to provide some opportunity and resource to other governments. We have an 8-year Mandarin language education promotion plan since 2013 to last year. This plan is complete, and we have a new execution of the U.S.-Taiwan Education Initiative. The Mandarin language education in Taiwan has entered into a new era. So, given the opportunity, we used to have the initial Office of Global Mandarin Education was transformed to Taiwan Mandarin Educational Resource Center in August 2021. We becoming the unified service center for the integration of Mandarin education in Taiwan. Taiwan is a very strong foundation of Taiwan language and literature, and they carry the mission of promoting traditional Mandarin language. Mandarin language is the foundation of Taiwan culture development and the treasure of language development. The Ministry of Education expects to promote overseas Mandarin education through the collaboration of government and the private sector. So we have 5 missions. First, our center is the think tank to the Ministry of Education. And second, we accumulating capabilities to provide the unified services. And third, we have the interdisciplinary knowledge about the resources, integration, and cross-disciplinary collaboration. And fourth, we will do the worldwide marketing. And fifth, we have advancement and achievements, the international exchange. And the last one is niche development. We constructing the international Mandarin teacher standard and recruiting Mandarin teachers for overseas teaching. That's our mission. The center position, just as the President Yang mentioned, we serve as the internal and external contact of Taiwan's Mandarin services. It's about improve the training of Mandarin teachers, improve the external Mandarin teacher system, and develop the Mandarin digital teaching system, and promote the international marketing of Mandarin education, and coordinate the Mandarin education strategic planning. We have 5 strategies. The strategy 1, we improve training of the Mandarin teacher. We set up the international Mandarin teacher standards and on-the-job training and the referral training module and system facilitates the Mandarin teacher subsidize the teaching and establish the Mandarin teachers talent bank. And the strategy 2, we improve the external Mandarin teaching system, clarify and analyze the information and the statistics of the Mandarin teaching, curriculum, teaching materials, tests, facilitate course guidance, and Mandarin proficiency test, and complete Mandarin teaching system. And strategy 3, we developed Mandarin digital teaching system. We facilitate the improvement of the Mandarin learning information platform, such as Mandarin digital learning platform, the apps, the online advancement courses for Mandarin learning teacher and the growth of the digital Mandarin teaching ability. The strategy 4, we promote the international marketing of the Mandarin education. We promote the learning language, the Mandarin in Taiwan through various modules and channels. For example, we will go to the Expo, we attend the overseas roadshow, the multi-language promotion literature and the products, social media and the community, marketing video, etc. The strategy 5, we coordinate Mandarin educational strategy planning. We are a think tank, so we collect information of Mandarin education in other countries. We investigate and we do the research so we can give the better suggestion, advice to the government. And we coordinate across department meeting, organize and research Mandarin promotion. Okay, then I will start the part 2. And because as I mentioned, because there's some repeat to the previous speaker, Dr. Lee, so I will give a very quick through. First, about the Huayu Best Bilingual Exchange Selected Talent Program. We subsidize Taiwan competent university, which offer Mandarin education in Taiwan to form school-to-school alliance with top university in the US and Europe. That's the Taiwan Huayu Best program. And second, the Ministry of Education's directions for subsidizing Chinese language teachers to teach abroad. We to promote the qualified to the quality of Mandarin education and Taiwanese culture, subsidize a good Chinese language teacher to teach abroad and increase Taiwan's influence in overseas Mandarin teaching. The directions are hereby established. And third, the Ministry of Education's Huayu Enrichment Scholarship, International Student Directions, to encourage international students to undertake Mandarin courses in Taiwan, to provide them with the opportunity to increase their understanding of Taiwan culture and society. So we have the scholarship. Some details you can find in our website, or you can Google the Taiwan Fellowship and Scholarship website. And fourth, the Ministry of Education Chinese Learning Language Teaching Skill Certification Directions. We enhance the teaching skill of Chinese language teachers and establish their professional, and this direction are hereby established. We have a certification examination for proficiency in teaching Chinese as second or foreign language in a national certification for teaching Chinese language, and will be promoted to become a major certification criteria for Chinese language teacher overseas. The last one is the Ministry of Education's direction for the test of Chinese as a foreign language, the TOEFL. That's our professional test. To improve the promotion of the usage of traditional Chinese language locally and overseas, encourage the international citizen to learn Chinese language, and to facilitate the teaching and promotion of the Mandarin education. In addition to traditional writing tests, there are computer-based tests, screening tests, and the Chinese language professional test for children. The test has been introduced to dozens of foreign countries. There are thousands of examinees taking the test each year. The last part is about the educational resources. Our resources have 5 categories. The first is online learning resources, and second is Mandarin language teachers toolkits, and reference for course design, and list of the teaching material reference, and list of the overseas education division of the Ministry of Education. Because of limited time, I will give a very short, brief introduction. First, about educational resources, the online resources, we have an app, Huayu 101. That's a starting basic Mandarin daily life situation conversation. That's you can download from the App Store. And we have Coursera's courses, start from the scratch, also the basic courses. We have Coursera's intermediate Chinese, we have Storybook, and we have Mandarin in 300 sentences. Those are online courses. Let's learn Chinese. And we have Fall in Love with Mandarin. These all are the online learning resources. And second, we have educational resource of the Mandarin teacher toolkits. We have some association for the Mandarin teacher to attend and to do to take the courses. And we've got some government bureaus website. There are a lot of resources for the teacher. And we have some enrichment scholarship. And we have some presentation slide for the teaching resources for the teacher, the toolkits. Okay, so because of limited time, let me jump to the last page about the feature and the benefit of Mandarin education in Taiwan. As you know, we have a complete educational system, and we got a free and democratic learning environment, and we have safe living environment, and we've got a good teaching quality. And the most important one, we have diverse and friendly Taiwanese culture. Now I thank you for all of your listening.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I realize that there's just so much information to share, and
Yep.
I know we can find probably a lot of these resources online as well. And then I know we have people to contact at TACO in Seattle to follow up if you have further questions.